YouTube, what's happening everybody? It's your boy Nomad222. For those of you who don't know me, make sure you go back and watch episode 1 of Progress Report. This is the series where I keep you guys up to date with the analytics of my journey to becoming a full-time artist and content creator. Let me go ahead and reposition this camera because honestly that's not working for me. But yeah, it's been a couple weeks since my last upload, and there is a reason for that, which I'll get into. But yeah, basically just needed a bit of time to get into the festive holiday spirit and get everything out of the way for Christmas and everything like that, especially with the family and whatnot. Just trying to navigate the end of this year as best as possible. Obviously 2024 is coming to an end, and by the way, this is probably the final episode for the year until I see you guys in the new year. But yeah, a fair bit's been happening. You know, I've experienced burnout a couple of times since starting this series, and just kind of ended the year in a bit of burnout. But we'll get into that a little bit more after we've gotten through the numbers. So like we always do, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the numbers that we've been tracking for, well, since August, really. Since August when we started this, I started tracking things like my Spotify monthly listeners, my total streams on that platform and other platforms, my Instagram followers, all my social media presence and everything like that, just to keep track of how I'm growing online while creating music and putting new music out there. And this started because I had the album rolling out again, right? But again, all of that information's in previous episodes. We're gonna go ahead and just get straight into this. So since my episode on the 12th of December, or around the 12th, I have lost more Spotify monthly listeners, and we all know like our target is 4 million monthly, and the most that we've hit so far in this journey is 1,015 monthly listeners, and that was in November. And now at the end of December, we around about half of that, we're at 537 monthly listeners, which is a little bit disheartening. But again, it's been a couple of weeks since the album rollout has wrapped up, so that's something to keep in mind. But you know, we're trying to see more growth in this, and that's the reality. The reality is, if you don't put out content, if you don't promote your music actively, then of course the numbers are going to drop off a little bit, and that's what we're witnessing here. However, we are now sitting at 16,510 total streams on Spotify, where the last one was 15,768, so that's cool. We did lose a couple of followers, but we went from 228 followers to 225 followers, so that kind of sucks. Spotify playlist adds 1,090 to 1,126. Apple Music, so we've stayed at 2 monthly listeners on Apple Music, like we've maintained that pretty much throughout the entire thing. Apple Music total streams were at 8,171, whereas last time we were at 8,122. Instagram followers, we are at 4,087, whereas we were at 4,091. Our highest has been 4,095 back at the start of this month, so that kind of sucks. TikTok followers 5,426. We've stayed the same as last week, where that's pretty much where we saw our first drop off, but there's what it is. YouTube though, 539 subscribers is where we were at last time, and now we're at 546 subscribers, so that's cool. We're still witnessing an uptrend on YouTube, so that's amazing. And let's talk about the engagement rates across these platforms. So we're at 2.12%, which is below average, but more than we had last time on Instagram, which was 1.65%. again, that's made up of how many views compared to the interactions, and the interactions can be anything from comments, likes, shares, all of that sort of stuff. So we're getting a bunch of views on Instagram, which is cool, and a lot of the views are coming from accounts that don't follow me, which is also cool. So we're breaking past our followers count, but unfortunately, yeah, we're just not seeing the interactions. We're not seeing many likes. We're not seeing many comments, which kind of sucks. But that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. TikTok post engagement rate, we're at 5.5%, where we were at 6.24%, and even that was a bit lower than average for us. And then YouTube engagement rate, we went from 10.04%, which is the highest engagement rate we've had across the board on all of our platforms, to 2.72%, which is still you know, a little bit higher above average, but compared to where we were at, it kind of sucks. But anyway, with that being said, look, I don't want to end the numbers game on a negative note. So I do want to bring up one thing that I noticed, which was, you know, when I was gathering the analytics on Spotify, and this has kind of been a bit of a trend for a couple of weeks now, and I think I've even mentioned it in one of these videos before for Progress Report. But my number one country over the past 28 days has been the Philippines. And for most of my, you know, 8 to 9 year career, my top country has always been Australia, obviously, and the main reason for that is because most of my fan base is from Melbourne. But this is the first time ever that I've seen another country other than Australia be number one. And to be completely honest, I was expecting it to maybe be New Zealand, but yeah, look, as of today, 150 listeners over the past 28 days have come from the Philippines. And even then, like, my top cities, while number one is Melbourne, number two is Quezon City, number three is Manila, number four is Auckland, so shout out to New Zealand. I've got number 5 Sydney, but then just keep going down the list. I've got all kinds of random names like Davao City in the Philippines, Johannesburg in South Africa getting some plays. Yeah, so things are, you know, when thinking about that, that's pretty crazy to me that, you know, the Philippines is I'm starting to pop up on that radar, because I do remember a couple of years ago having a conversation with my boy Cameron, aka Boy Graduate, and I reached out to him because him and his crew, they've been doing some stuff over in the Philippines with different people, mainly Philippine artists and Filipino artists across the world, and you know, getting the diaspora to go back to the Phils and play shows over there. And I just wanted to pick his brain about it and see if there's any potential for me to do it. And, you know, respectfully, he did tell me that platform is you know, it's a for us, by us sort of thing. And that completely makes sense. Definitely, like, didn't feel any disrespect there or anything like that. But that's what they've established with their platform. But it was still a very insightful project, conversation about a project that, you know, was tapping into a market that I definitely wanted to tap into. And you know, to all of my Filipino fans out there, if you guys are watching this, I definitely feel grateful for the fact that you guys are streaming my songs. And another crazy thing about that is that it's a song called Life and Times, which was produced by DJ Spell, featuring Antoine and Kobe White, and then myself, obviously, on that joint. But I never thought, at least previously, I didn't think that it was like one of, how do I say this? Like, I knew it was a good song, and I knew that, like, you know, me and Antoine came with the bars, got a bit of a catchy hook, and obviously the appeal of a DJ Spell beat, right? But the sort of attention that it's grabbing right now, like, it's been my most popular song for a couple of months now. I gotta say, like, it just, you never know. That's what I want to get at, is that you never really know what people are gonna gravitate towards and what's gonna become a moment. So at the moment, Life and Times is a moment. for us. Life and Times is the moment, and shout out to the Philippines again. Like, me and my friend Michael, my friend MJ, Michael Ganzon, like he's always, that's my kuya. And every time we see each other, I'm just like, kuya, and he's like, kuya, what's going on? And like, he's been kind of my main exposure to Filipino culture, especially the food, man. But yeah, I say all of that to say, like, I feel like I'm in my kuya era. I feel like I'm stepping into my kuya era. And look, you guys keep playing my songs, and you guys keep letting me know that you mess with what I'm bringing to the table musically. Then I might have to come out there and do some shows and collaborate with some artists out there. So, let me know, especially if you're watching this, let me know in the comments if that's something that you want to see, because that's definitely something I want to see. It's on my bucket list. Like, I've got an Australia NZ tour on my bucket list. I've got shows in the Philippines on my bucket list. I've got a pretty extensive bucket list, but in terms of things that I want to make happen soon, Philippines is definitely on my bucket list. So let's try and make that happen. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that's going on the music front. But the reason why I wanted to get this episode out tonight was because I have my final song for the year dropping at midnight, called Switch Up, and it's produced by Bradley Moon. And again, this is a song that I have mixed feelings about, because I think I've kind of already shared this at this point, but this is a song that I sent to Uncle Rob like early this year, and Uncle Rob told me, I'm not sure, it kind of sounds like a rant on over a beat. And that was a fair assessment. Honestly, I can't think of a way to define the song any better than that, because it definitely is. It's a rant. I'm calling people out. I'm saying all these things, like I'm just speaking pretty candidly over a track, over a Bradley Moon beat. And that's exactly what I wanted it to feel like. I feel like the resolve of the song, like the conclusion of it ends on quite a positive note, where like I'm taking all of those feelings that I've felt for quite some time now, that have kind of been holding me back and holding me in a place of darkness, and just going, nah, I don't need that energy anymore. Like I literally say, fuck all of that doubt shit. Don't bring that energy around me. I don't need anyone to crown me. And then just like reclaiming my position and reclaiming my confidence in myself, and just being like, I'm gonna make this happen regardless. And I'm done listening to other people tell me that I'm not gonna make it where I think I deserve to be. So that's what Switch Up is about, and it's dropping at midnight. And the point of dropping it at this period of time, my friend Aqua, she's hilarious. She actually shared a promo that I posted to her story and said, the timing of this is so disrespectful, like, because I'm fully aware that I'm dropping it between, it's Boxing Day right now as I'm filming this, and it's the 27th of December. New Year's is about to come up, and like, yeah, the timing isn't ideal. But again, like I'm saying, like, not to say that this song is a throwaway, but that's how I feel about the energy. I want to throw that energy away. I just want to get this out there so that it exists, and I've captured and documented this moment in time, and people can sort of acknowledge where I'm heading, the direction that I'm heading, because it signifies a crossroads. And I've talked about many of the crossroads that I've come up to in my career, but I definitely feel like it signifies the final nail in the coffin, that that energy is not what I want to continue on this journey with, and I want to continue on the theme that we've been discussing this entire year, which has been gratitude and leaving all the expectations in the past and moving forward with that. And that's why pretty much I'm dropping that song tomorrow at midnight, Switch Up, killing that energy, leaving it dead, and then stepping into the new year next week. And then next Friday, I'm dropping my first single of the year, which is called Proud of Me. And Proud of Me, if you want to talk about a song that exemplifies gratitude and being thankful. Like Proud of Me is a love letter to my parents. You know, the first verse is dedicated to my father, and the second verse is dedicated to my mother. And, you know, it's just a completely different contrast. Like, you contrast it to Switch Up, it's the vibes are completely different. So that's pretty much the explanation for the direction over the next couple of weeks. And I guess in terms of the series too, like it's gonna show, you know, I'm really excited to see how this new direction, this new music specifically, is gonna compare to the re-release of the album. And I hope it breathes some new blood into, you know, what we've been witnessing, because I'm looking at these numbers and, you know, I'm trying to see the silver lining, but these numbers have got me a little bit down. And I guess a lot of it has to do with, you know, it also falling in with, you know, everything else that's been going on in my personal life too. You know, things haven't been easy to wrap up this year. First of all, like, you know, it was, for me personally, it was a bit of a struggle just to get the couple of presents for my kids that I did end up getting. And then, you know, us just trying to make Christmas work and everything like that. But, you know, I something that I haven't shared with you guys, which has been a little bit personal, is that we fell behind on some payments for my kids' childcare. And it wasn't anything intentional. It's just like a direct debit thing. Like, you know, the direct debit was falling on one day, but our payday was falling on the other. So the money would hit the account late, but then the payments would bounce back. Like, it would overdraft our account, but then they would dishonor us, and then you get a dishonor fee. And then it's just like, you know, all these things where we had the money, but for whatever reason it was bouncing back and things like that. So that sucked, and we were meant to go on a payment plan. But then something else that some of you non-parents might not know out there is that, you know, Centrelink, our government funding and things like that, they have this benefit scheme called childcare subsidy, where the government subsidizes the cost of childcare, because for one child to go to school for like one day is like $160 something or something crazy like that. So imagine paying that 5 days a week. Yeah, that's like nearly $1,000 or something, right? So the government subsidizes like 95% of that through CCS, that scheme, right? So that way, all we have to pay is the gap fee. And for the two kids that go to this particular childcare, it totals out to be like 300 something a week, which is still kind of crazy, but like we can sort of manage that. Unfortunately, there was a bit of an issue in the final week where, you know, Kai, our 1-year-old, she was unwell because she was teething. Like, this is stuff, we've got 4 kids, this is number 4. We've experienced this a million times. So as soon as we saw the symptoms, we were like, yeah, she's teething, I'll stay home with her, I'll keep her home while I'm working and things like that, and like, we'll manage it. But because of our hubris, which is the only word I can use to describe it, because of our, you know, experience, we thought we'll just keep her home. But the thing about the CCS is that there's a rule in there where kids can only miss up to 42 days a year without a medical certificate. Like, they can only take 42 absences in a year. And then the CCS doesn't cover the absences after that unless they have a medical certificate. So we took that last day. The CCS didn't get approved because she's now taken 43 days absent, and we get charged a full week or something, a full fee, and the fees end up inflating to a ridiculous amount. And then I have to in order to safeguard us, the school discontinued our bookings for both of our kids so that we don't accumulate more costs, more childcare costs, which, you know, is kind of good. It's a double-edged sword, because, you know, we're not accumulating more debt, but we're also like I now have to stay home with the kids. I can't go to work and on all of that. And it just feels like all of these like negative things are compounding, and it's just all money related. The whole Christmas thing, like there was a lot more that I wanted to do for my kids this Christmas than I was able to do. And then this just happens on top of it. My car needs repairs, my windscreen wiper is not working, and like this weather in Melbourne is just so unpredictable. We've had like flash rainstorms out of nowhere for no reason, even though we're in December and it's summertime here. We've had a transition from one rental agency to another rental agency. Like it's just a bunch of different things, and it feels like we're falling behind. And it also, like, you know, my partner just went back to work from unpaid maternity leave for a couple of months, and you know, it feels like we're so close to, you know, the end of the tunnel. Like we've been in this tunnel for so long, and we can finally see the light, and we're finally getting there. But now we've just had our legs knocked out from underneath us and just fucking crawling to the finish line. And look, I try to remain as optimistic as I can, but you know, something else that I've been completely open about has been, you know, my battles with depression and anxiety and things like that. And I gotta say, like, the depression has been really, like, it really feels like I'm in one of those valleys right now. And that's why I haven't been able to make content the way that I have been, you know, the past couple of months. That's why I have been a little bit more off. And, you know, some other things have happened as well that have really, really affected my mental state. But I just, you know, that's kind of other people's stories to tell as well. And I don't want to put everyone's business out there. I've already kind of opened up and overshared a little bit too much so far. So just imagine what I'm like. I'm keeping under wraps right now. But yeah, like at the same time, the thing that's like keeping me going is just the fact that I know like what is on the schedule, especially for next year. Like just knowing like what is on the way, and like I just need to see this last bit through, and like we're so close. Like the end of the light at the end of the tunnel is like right there, man. And if we can just get there, then I know everything will be okay. But fuck, these times are hard. But I guess also for some other perspective, like, you know, people have been facing tougher times for a lot longer than I have. Especially like with everything else that's going on around the world right now. So as much as I want to sit here and feel down about myself, like I just gotta get back up and keep moving. You know, that's really the only option, because I can't stop. There's too many people relying on me to stop here. So, you know, it kind of is what it is. Have a little bit of a cry, 2 tears in a bucket, say fuck it, and just get up and keep moving. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's where things are at the moment. On another note, like I did get to go and watch my boy Tabir perform his debut headline show last Wednesday, and that was incredible. And shout out to Tabir. You know, this is someone who I've admired for quite some time now, like a couple of years, and I've just been seeing him and watching from afar and just studying his example. And you know, this dude's been grinding for so long, and he puts out this EP, which is, you know, 4 straight bangers, just back to back to back. And everyone who's worked on that project should be like completely proud. If you guys haven't heard it, it's called The Proposal. It's on all platforms everywhere. But man, on top of like releasing an incredible project, he you know, has his debut headline show. And shout out to the rest of the team that put all of that together, like AWOC, all the boys like that were in the band, all the boys like behind the mixing desk, venue. I know Bell and Matt had things to do with that show too. But yeah, just seeing it all come together, and then on top of like it's one thing to just put an event together, but then there's also the question of, will people show up? And people showed up. Like some of us even showed up like before before doors opened, and then, you know, it was running a little bit late to be here. That's my only gripe with the night. But by the time things got rolling, like everybody was like, everyone in that room was there to like shower praise and just give you that energy that you were giving us digitally, if that makes sense. Like, you know, and he's kind of built this momentum and built this community called the Tribe, and to see it all like in real life, just like fully realized, like, you know, from a friend and fan standpoint, like it was so like gratifying to just see like everything that you've witnessed this person work for like just come to fruition, but also to know that this is just the beginning. Like this is just proof of the concept that is to be and the Tribe, and proof of the concept that, like, you know, you can see what this dude's trajectory is. Like, this is one of our premier players in the scene right now. And the last time that I felt that sort of pride from another Melbourne artist was, it was funny because she was also there, Soli Tessima's listening party. You know, I got to go to this listening party at On3 Studios, and she like showed us her whole project, as well as like premiered a music video too for Blessed. And like that same feeling that I had for Soli in that room was the same feeling that I had with Tabir in this room. Like, those are two artists who are just like, their trajectory is to the moon. And we've seen it with Soli. Like, she just got off tour, like supporting Thames, opening for Thames. So like, you know, where's Tabir gonna go from here? Because I see the exact same thing. And shout out to you, Chief. And then on a peer and professional level, like, just that I definitely feel some competitive like envy. Like, the only way I can describe it is, you know, I always bring things back to WWE, but like The Rock and Stone Cold, like that sort of thing. Like, I feel like I'm witnessing this other person, like, where, I don't know. Honestly, I you know, if I can just be self-aware for a second, I know I'm not quite where he is right now, but that's someone who I look at and I go, they are doing everything right, and they are moving in the exact direction that they're supposed to be going. I want that for myself as well. And I just, you know, the more I see that person doing exactly what they're meant to be doing, makes me want to do exactly what I need to be doing. So again, shout out to the Chief, and shout out to everyone who put that together. Hopefully that's me ending it on a positive note. But yeah, I just want to say thank you one more time to everybody who's been supporting me, not only this year, but supporting me for the past 8 years. I know I haven't been living up to my potential. I haven't realized a lot of the promises that I made over the years, but I also am fully aware that, you know, when man makes plans, God laughs. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is already planned. This is fated. So I'm moving into 2025 with that in mind. Obviously, we got our goals, we got our aspirations to hit 4 million monthly listeners and all that stuff, to get a golden play button on YouTube and all of that. But, you know, it'll all happen in time. And with that being said, I just want to remind you guys to please like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Stream my music. Switch Up drops tonight. I love and appreciate all of you. Please take care of yourselves as you step into this new year. Step into it with love. Don't make any unrealistic New Year's resolutions, but be easy and kind to yourself. And remember that together we move.